Hey y'all, welcome to, let's call it Unclipped Political. Although I think it kind of ties in, kind of taking a holistic look at all of our lives and all the shit that's wrong and needs to be let go of, needs to be unclipped from. Politics comes into that a lot. That kind of, I don't know, fits in a weird parallel way with the change in our lives that we're doing now. So I thought I'd just go through a few things that I've had conversations about that I just want to talk about. No names to protect the brilliant from fame that might make them too proud. So the first one I posted was it's not a Joe Rogan clip, but Jimmy what's his face video. I forget the guy's name. He posted a video of this Joe Rogan situation, and basically what they did was somebody asked Joe Rogan, "Hey, do you think you're going to vote for now?" He's had quite a few people on, different influences and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna vote for Bernie, like the guy," and he goes into some detail about, "You guys really genuine, it really is, I have genuinely thought about it, but man, consistency and blah blah blah, man, just a solid dude. I think that's gonna be him." So he wasn't just like reflexively at all. It was like he had to think about it even, but so, and it's enough. Bernie tweets that clip. Hey, lots of people like Joe Rogan. Lots of Republicans like Joe Rogan. That's where somebody's stirring something up. I don't know, somebody's bonnet. But I think that's where it comes in, because then this woman comes out. I got this tweet from her, Ashley will caucus for Warren, and digs up a thing from 2012 where Joe Rogan says, "Call me romantic, but I love it when gay guys, but it's hard to read, it's so small, or you basically are comfortable enough to kiss in public. Love it." I've got 3 gay sons, so my response to that was, me too. It tells me that it's safe for them to fall in love. They're probably not going to get killed just for holding hands or something. But this lady's decided that basically that is Joe Rogan fetishizing homosexuality, which I don't know, using my math and my direct experience, would make Joe gay and therefore not really being anti, just any way you try to spin it, you can't make it add up. This is, again, it's from 2012. And anybody who can read or think, I mean, like, how could you read that into us? So disgusting. Like, what the hell? I mean, he's legit just like I am, going, that's awesome. Wherever I am now is a cooler place. That's awesome. People feel comfortable. People feel safe. I feel safe. What if somebody doesn't like whatever the fuck about me, I feel safer here. Damn, people are just, I don't know, this was just really fucked up. So I tagged the top of it with, corporate Dems just need to come out to themselves. You're just Republicans. Admit it. Move on. Their whole moveon.org, corporate Dems. And in the video, there's a Democratic leader quoted as saying, "For every blue-collar Dem we lose, blah, 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 they're going to get some Republicans to replace them." And I just, I'm stop right there. What the fuck is it with you people? That's your fucking base. Shrug? Deplorables? They're totally got this attitude. Like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it, these people over here, they make more money, they're more valuable. Oh, Christ, no wonder we're such a fucking kleptocracy. So that was the first one that I just got. I don't know, I gotta find another political rant, but this time of year, if this year, it's in all our minds. So whatever. Thought I'd maybe work from doing that to just talking directly to y'all, but this is helping me get started sharing for anybody that wants to listen. So the next one I said, this is just my own words. If my vote disproportionately benefits a large campaign donor, I've been bribed. I think it's time for all of us to grow up and admit that. I need a better healthcare system. Your donor needs me to not have that. If you vote in favor of your large donor, you're guilty as fuck. No trial, no presumption of innocence. There's a 0% chance that your vote was not bought. I really don't care what party you claim to be a part of. You might think, but the greater good. But you're just a mob enforcer and you're going down. Wow, I got 26 comments on this. First, I jumped in with an asterisk. Yes, I realize this is all but like 5 members of the legislative branch. I'm okay with the rest of them busting rocks on the side of the road from now on. All of them. I don't know. I just, you dig under a little bit and it gets really frustrating how many people, I don't know, maybe they don't even really feel like they are bought. They can't tell the difference between the subtlest difference I can think of would be some kind of dentists coalition, some medical organization that's funded by dentists and is for dentists, and they can use the weight of their organization to have some political pull to the benefit of their industry. If you compared that to a teachers union, it'd be really easy to say they're equivalent, but it's pretty clear that they're not. And you can see how financial pressure to push vote one way or another leads to, let's cave to this, dentist coalition and fuck the teachers. And if you think I'm wrong, go track each of those professions and see where their livelihood has gone. Nothing against any dentist. Jesus Christ, that's in several dimensions the toughest job. But, they're in a different economic position, and very unknowingly, that builds in some political bias, and just them, in their minds, unionizing isn't the same. They're just their financial resources alone distort that. It amplifies voices, so it's not representative. All you have to do to prove that is like, hey, if we had in orthodontists, then our political clout goes up more for each person because they're worth more. It's just, I don't know if you can go there. So I just think we need to call that out now. I think we need to stop kidding ourselves, and we need to stop allowing people to say, oh, now just because. Well, let's face it, teachers donate to you. It's in the public interest for you to be in favor of teachers. So they endorse you, they donate to you. There's not really a conflict of interest possible there, because there's not any personal self-aggrandizing attribute of what's happening here. It's just teachers are going to be able to do their job better, have better schools. Maybe they do get paid okay, but if money was their motive, you're going to want to bounce from that job. Jesus, it's, we got a long way to go before that would be the place you want to go for money. It should, but it's not. Yeah. So, a lot of people in Congress, I think of as being on the take. That's why I'm saying, it's only 5 people that legit will go No, one way or another, that's dirty money, and I'm not doing it. I mean, I mean, really, come on, think about it. That's a short list. I'm not saying every single one of those people is in some back room with a cigar, cutting slimy deals with mobsters like the president, talking to himself in 3 mirrors would be plenty to cover that whole fucking thing. But, um, you know, even pretty likable, above board, good people who are like, oh, what's the harm in, a company that's one of the big employers in my district? I mean, that's a feel good community thing. What's the big deal with that? It's a big corporation, and gee, they'd really like it if when their employees got uppity, you kind of help pat that down. I mean, it doesn't take but one little, it looks so innocent. So I think there's a lot of people who probably think of themselves as innocent. Sometimes they maybe later see, eh, that wasn't quite as legit as I would like to be, and they fall right in the cliche trap of, yeah, but for the greater good. This is a minor compromise to get to where my influence is going to allow a really great benefit. And it's just, I think we've proven that that's a net downhill slope to what we have now. We don't even have capitalism anymore. It's just, so that was my first comment. Just want to see if there's anything else salient in here that y'all might find interesting. I had an interesting discussion with somebody about socialism and healthcare. He was talking about how Canadians pay 40% in income tax, and the cliched, oh, it's first come, first serve, and you gotta wait, and still gotta pay for the other extra stuff. It's just kind of like this 50s Soviet dark concrete socialism painted picture of the poor, sad, deprived people in Canada and their terrible healthcare system, and you just can't find a Canadian to back that up ever. It's fucking bullshit, man. It's not very hard to find that out. If I can go to Canada, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe like England, but with the dentistry and you get the John Lennon glasses because that's what you get for the government. So yeah, you know what? You still, just like we have, you can still, hey man, go make more money, get better shit. That's still allowed. But when your kid first steps off on their own and they don't make shit, if they're anything like me, they're gonna go, fuck you, I can't take $25 out of every paycheck. That's fucking food, man. That's a huge chunk of my tiny ass wage. I just didn't even fucking have healthcare for like all of my 20s, actually. I just got half lucky. That's insane. So it's like, that's the baseline already right there. I mean, who cares? Why are we freaking out about how much it costs? Why are we allowing that reality to happen? Because that ends up costing us so much more. So one of his complaints is that people are oblivious to the fact that their taxes will go up, and that the Democrats are lying about it, and everything's free and happy and cheap and easy. That keeps getting pumped. That it's like that's what's being touted, and secretly under the hood, if you were to pay attention for a half a second, yes, indeed, it is structured like this, and it's not free fairy dust from the fucking sky. It's quite logical and a no-brainer. So my response was, no one thinks that. No one thinks that it's all just free, happy, easy. I think my taxes will go up considerably. But another payroll deduction, plus an enormous amount of money my employer spends that they could then give to me, will no longer be collected unless you're in the 1%. Cold hard math says Bernie's deal saves you a massive amount of money. Also, you will never find a politician with the lack of skeletons in his closet that Bernie, to say nothing of his refreshing honesty. Yes, Fox News can make a lie out of any 10-second soundbite, but if you listen to the guy when he has a chance to fully address your concerns, he does. A lot of very wealthy people are so scared of him that they have paid off just as many Dems as Republicans to stop him. Canadian healthcare does not suck. You are being lied to constantly. We have seen how that worked out. In his post, he'd said, yeah, how's that working out for you, Obamacare? This comes up all the time. Like, doesn't everybody agree this is a horrible mistake and it's terrible and bad? And this is my same response every time. I've seen how it worked out. My wife and at least one of my children is alive because of it. Literally pre-existing condition and covered up to 26 were life-saving. I don't know what else might have gone wrong for myself or the other two in a gap or whatever, but those were just like black and white. That would have been lethal. Thank God Obama passed at least that. Wasn't nearly enough. Shit is still very fucked, but you know, my family's alive. So it gets really fucking direct and serious for me. So I said that and still nowhere good enough. It is good enough. It was full of political expedient compromises because that's how it's always been done. Fuck that. Those weren't reach across the aisle. They were to appease the donors to both sides. And that's, you know, that's the critical issue. Even when we finally got Obamacare, let's face it, the watering down entirely benefits all of the industries that are now being threatened. And the people who are around Obamacare, not just Obama, the least of whom really is Obama, but kind of the DNC core, you know, they're the ones that are really fighting against where we're trying to go. And their donors are, you know, doctors, big pharma, healthcare. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's like nobody's even pretending. They're not even passing it through a middle, like money launderers must now just be out of fucking business because people just fuck out in the open, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, donors. And I just wanted to say I'm not armchair quarterbacking. I'm only very political now because it's life and death. I'm not shooting from the hip. I'm not making this stuff up. I dig, I research, I check, and I do the math myself because, like you, I trust most politicians about as far as I can throw a barge. But Bernie, I can go back to when I was in diapers and find him screaming stuff that is spot on and still relevant today. He's an independent for a reason because both parties have been very corrupt for a very long time, and he won't stand for it. He's fighting your fight, but that's nothing, really. You don't need to like him, because it's not about him. It's about us, and we are taking our country back. You and me, brother, not Donnie, not Bernie. They work for us. It's our job to clean up this mess. It's our duty. I mean that. It's our fucking problem right now. I'm turning 50, I don't know, 2 months. Doesn't matter. It's pretty much my fucking problem now, don't you agree? I mean, Plato would even agree. So here we are, let's fucking figure it out. So he posts some stuff about Bernie's scorecard on PolitiFact, which PolitiFact is pretty hardball, and they'll go, you know, patently stated as surface, that begs some eventualities and assumptions, therefore it does not count as 100% truth fact. You know, they have a really good gradient, and they have a very, very helpful unit at the bottom, which is Pants on Fire. And Pants on Fire to me is You knew you were gonna lie. You knew you were lying. You knew why you were lying. You were lying for surreptitious reasons. And you knew you were going to get called on lying, and knew you were going to lie about that. You're like, pants on fire, man. I'm writing this fucking lie to the ends of the earth. And I mean, it's funny that he pointed out Politico. He had three posts about that. Aha! Bernie's imperfect. It's not even imperfect. I mean, Bernie will say stuff like, hyperbolically, not really hyperbolically, but like not including all of the components of what he's talking about just to get people there. That like free education ends up in this tremendous net positive gain, and it's paid for by this tax on Wall Street speculation, one little transaction thing. And he just kind of lumps those things in together, and people start crossing, how does that add up to that, or how does that end up being this great net gain? And it's hard for people to do the math, because they'll say, here look, 13% of things were blah blah blah. There, I dug one layer deep, but they don't go layers deep and go, okay, but 10 years down the line, what impact does it have on the economy that a substantial proportion of the population now is more competitive, way more competitive, domestically and globally? I mean, the very basic economic math there is that is an increase in GDP. I'm getting an MBA right now. Theoretically, I go get a new job that's based on that I'm in the middle of working on now. I'm going to be getting paid more. I'm getting paid more because in theory, I'm adding more value to the economy. My income is going to be, one way or another, some direction, I forget how that works, part of that GDP. If millions and millions and millions of Americans are suddenly able to do that, it doesn't really dilute, because we import a lot of people from the top, from places where they've got a better education system, where it's not necessarily free, but it's what it was when I was born, which was anybody, if you're willing to get off your ass, you can go to college. It's no big deal. Maybe not the nice new Corvette this summer. Boo-hoo. For me, it was fuck, and then no. And then I finally found a way that's, works. It's fucking awesome. But my kids, no. It's impossible for a traditional college, four-year college. No. It's insane. It never even adds up. So that stunts their potential. Suddenly, swipe all of our student loans, and all my kids are able to go to college. They all need to. One of them is in school now. But his band is narrowed by economic choices and how far he can go and how quickly. So you uncork that, and it hurts me that people think so little that they think uncorking that is giving people free shit, because I should probably be working on my marketing paper right now, but I really don't fucking want to. I'm not into it. It's just a thing I need to get done. It sucks. So if somebody gave me the opportunity to wade through that for free, I mean, do you get me? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, no, somebody who's slacker who's just like, oh, cool, I'll just go do this. They're not going to want to do that because they have to, you have to maintain, of course, satisfactory academic progress and GPA and all, obviously. So you have to fucking show up ready to fucking work. And the result of you doing that, even if we've paid for it, is that you now jump into the economy and bring more to the GDP. Most people keep missing this by a country mile. It takes a little while, of course, but I'll simplify it. I'm going to be paying more taxes soon. So if you did, let's say hypothetically my student loans get wiped out because Bernie gets elected and we push that through, yay. I'm honestly not trying to push that through. For me, I worry about what that does to my kids. For me, it's either going to pay off or I'll die owing some student loans. I mean, I don't care. That sucks, but hey, that's where we are. I think they'll pay off. So I'm not pushing for me, but let's say hypothetically that happened. That would free up. That would free up everything, and most importantly, I'm trying to do I'm sorry, I'm taking so long. I'm trying to do the math in my head here. Very quickly, I'm gonna say $60,000 in student loans, which is way more than not way more, but it's more than the school cost. I took some for living expenses too, but that would be typical in a lot of situations. So let's say 60,000 in student loans. That should be met, probably 2 years after getting a promotion by the increase based on that. So the ROI is great. That works out, and it looks like timing's working out fantastic for that. But that's the goodie for me. But the goodie for everyone is, if I'm paying, not that I would, but if I could pay off all of my $60,000 student loans in 2 years, what does that mean for how much I'm paying in taxes everywhere? All the luxury tax shit, gas tax, I'm gonna fill up my RV, and obviously income tax. So what if we all invested 60 grand in me, and in 2 years we broke even, and then I work another 20 years? What's your return on investment as a taxpayer for having helped me out while I was busting my ass in school? So even if you're not just a fiscally conservative Republican, if you're a fucking greedy Republican, go to school, do the math, get how money works, get how the economy works before you push so hard. You don't have to know all this shit. It's okay. Just don't act like you do. Because now it's getting dangerous, because now people are really fighting hard for shit they haven't thought about for 2 seconds. And it's, it's pushed us right off a fucking cliff, man. So anyway, my retort to PolitiFact was, because like I said, Bernie's wasn't perfect. Well, Bernie's does have one perfection. His pants on fire column is empty. It's the only one that's like that. I don't recall the last time I've seen somebody's whose was just empty. And that means that nobody's caught him knowingly, intentionally misleading, lying, basically being dishonest. That's pants on fire is like, that's not a white lie. That's not There's no way to spin that. You fucking lied. Bernie's got no, you fucking lied. There's none of that. There's none of that. His smallest is false, which is the next one up from Pants on Fire. And false can be, you know, him saying, it was just in New Hampshire last year that they passed a reform on blah, blah, blah. You know, somebody comes back later and says, actually, that vote got recanted because somebody was disqualified for harassment lawsuit. And Jesus Christ, he didn't catch that. He forgot. That's not, oh, I'm going to sneak this one by on the voters, you know. And that's the worst one. All of his stuff's up from there. Anyway, so my retort was I posted these two. They're just the graphs of the scorecards. Well, they've got the numbers too, but they're just the bar graphs. And I said I don't even have to tell someone who these two cards are for, and I bet that 80% of those questioned would be able to identify each of their owners correctly from a pool of any, not even tell you, here's the two people, just what two people in the world are these graphs for? And I think Bernie's is fucking hella obvious because he's got no pants on fire, and mostly true is like his far and away largest column. And then the other one obviously is Trump's. I'll just give it away. And his, of course, very much, I'm gonna call it more so. The distance between his first and second place bar is greater, and his first place bar is false. And that's the one right above Pants on Fire, and his Pants on Fire is larger than Bernie's mostly false, which is a yeah, no, you can't really say that wholeheartedly. That's, you've heard about a thing that was related to that, but it didn't end up adding up to enough to pay for that whole thing. So yeah, that's mostly false. False is just like, nope, you were mistaken. That's wrong. So now we're getting into a slight gray area. You know, that's still a mistake. Mostly false is still an honest mistake. I mean, unless somebody does it intentionally all the time, but I think, you know, it should show up on something like this. I don't know PolitiFact, but I mean, I've used them in the other direction, so I was very glad this person went there. I'm going to give you some data. They've learned. That's what I like to see. Show me the datas. But it's hilarious because it looks like a couple of middle fingers, you know. It's just like, and this is like truth and this is like lie. I mean, that's what it fucking looks like to me. That's what I'm seeing. Fuck you, I'm gonna lie to you. Fuck you, I'm gonna fight for the fucking truth. I'm gonna fight for people I don't fucking know. Couple of guys from Brooklyn flipping each other off. Truth and false. That's beautiful. I get a picture up or something. I mean, I'll grab this. My editor, my post, we'll do some post. My editor will put that in there, I'll tell you what. Yeah, it's back worth blaming the past administration. And oh, this is great, man. All the great things the current administration has done. National debt alone. It's like not even that interesting. Oh, and then I went to prove where I really am, because people often reflexively argue with me, even though they know better. You're for that guy. That means you're for this whole group of people, and you are of this mindset because you're all stormtroopers, just like we are. And that's what I see. I mean, honestly, it's not that I'm in any middle. I'm not between the two. I'm somewhere else in a place where people are actually gathering and figuring shit out and getting it fucking done. And there's just this sea of black and white stormtroopers who just all move in fucking unison. It's mind-blowing to watch from here. So to highlight that that's where I'm standing, I can't help but want to say up on some higher ground. I've got the higher ground. Give up. You can end up in the lava, motherfuckers. Um, I jump in because this person, of course, is somebody who supports Trump, and so I responded to him. And I was like, hey, you know, proof of where I am. He once said while in a debate, I think we should look into doing vaccines on a slower schedule. That just maybe anti-vax crowd wasn't 1,000% wrong. I agree with him, and I think that was very big of him to put that out there at that time. These actions and statements are hard to find, but I will never blanket giving them a thumbs up publicly. Right is right. And he's, oh, was that so hard? Like, no, it wasn't. It's that's where I am. That's where I've always been. And I explained that. I said, no, it wasn't hard at all. I've been anti-partisan since my first election when I was a Republican. It has been very freeing and has allowed me to applaud the successes and call out the failings of people from all sides. And just a reminder, I was a Republican by choice. My parents strongly represented both parties, so I had to make up my own mind. I thought I was a Republican because of the Graham-Redmond-Hollings bill in the 80s that basically said if we don't have the money, we don't get to spend it. That was such a no-brainer that I said, whatever party doesn't support that can kiss my ass. And it got shot down by everybody, and here we are, trillions in debt, and a handful of people, trillions in debt so that a handful of people could make billions off the backs of brave American soldiers like my other homie, Tulsi Gabbard, to defend, or heck, even help them steal their American interests abroad. Best I can tell you is that I'm disgusted with the Dems for most of the same reasons you are. I'm just also disgusted with the R's for the same reasons, and there's fewer and fewer of them that escape that. Late breaking. Rand's question. Totally should have asked and answered, and yes, I started the video expecting him to confirm further disappointment in him, but he was legit. Rand had come on somewhere in the middle of me, right? Just rant. And I was like already annoyed because he walked out of the Senate hearing because his question wouldn't get read. So I guess he gave us the gist of what his question was, and I kind of feel, I was kind of leaning, I guess I was kind of assuming that Rand was going to say something that was going to piss me off and dislike him more, which he's not lumped in with the other Republicans for me anyway. It's kind of, sometimes he says shit that's like, I'm hearing you, and other times it's like way worse than the stormtroopers. But anyway, yeah, he stomped out of the Senate hearing, I guess, and he came out and gave his little speech and said, here's the question that I asked. I can't remember really what it was. It wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of not out of turn, but just sort of aside, but a useful one. I think it basically got accused of having something to do with the whistleblower thing, which I don't even understand why that would be. But it really didn't. It was pretty straightforward and plain. I think it was directed at both parties, and an answer from both parties might have revealed something useful. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not on his team, but I was like, yeah, that's legit. So I feel like I have to keep putting that out there. Like every time I want to have a discussion with a Republican, I have to like repeatedly go, hey, look, it was really cool when Ronnie did this. Oh God, wait, I don't want to forget Wimpy McFisherman, let me get them all in there for you so that you feel warm and cozy. Well, they didn't all do something great, really. And when you got to dig for it, it's like, but whatever. Just trying to prove that I'm being unbiased, and I really tried, trying to be unbiased, though. It's like, I want to be. I want to have a better and better perspective. I'm a data analyst, so I want to understand. I want the best information. I want the highest perspective I can get. The further out I can get, the better my information is. The more truth I can discern, the better decisions I can make. So I can't cloud that by being biased. It's kind of anathema to what I'm trying to do. So that was Rand's question. Here's another one on money stuff and Bernie. That's something I figured out that just really blew my mind. I said, if you add in what my employer spends and what I spend, I get 35% now for healthcare. 35% of my gross income gets spent on healthcare in my house last year. So some of you might think, okay, that's not so bad. It's only 5% more to get to Canada's healthcare, which is, the other guy was saying their taxes are 40%. So it's like, wow, that's not that much more then. But no, that's just healthcare. And I said, full disclosure, there's some bad math in there because I'm adding my employer's costs, which I think is like $20,000 on the spend side, but not including it on my income side. But it's still true. Just as a thumbnail, hand weight. Like, what the fuck? How does that happen? How does that equivalent, take whatever your gross is and say 35%, how much is 35% of that money? I'm going to go spend that on healthcare. How the hell does that happen? A third? It's more than a third. I'll do the math, maybe. What happens if you add that contribution back in his income? But it's just an insane amount of money. And before I paid any income, property tax, sales tax, gas tax, smoke tax, I smiled wrong tax. We were being robbed blind and lied to. Follow the money, ask any actual Canadian, and then remember that thanks to population and resources, all kinds of things, they are a far less wealthy country than we are. That would be funny. Double check I'm not muted. You could read lips. That would be cool. It would be too late anyway. I've recorded 42 minutes, man. Oh well. Oh yeah, and I added that I still owe thousands in medical bills from last year alone that insurance didn't cover. #winning. Dude pointed out that's left over from Obamacare. Correct. Less than not good enough stance. Obama was the best president in any country that any country ever had, and yet I'm still critical of him, and I still think that we need someone that's 10 times better. And I thank my friends for being willing to disagree with me publicly and not run away. That was the second one. Now, let's see if there really was a third one. Oh yeah, this one's awesome. I think. I'm being very proud. Just a thought I had. Bernie is our teacher. We all need to be leaders. And I said that because I worry that people start to run into this fucking populist idolatry kind of mindset again. And concentrate and pin all of their fucking hopes on not just one person, but one event going one way. And when you do that, that means that entire goal is that fragile that you're kind of saying, if these things don't all happen at this time with this person, everything we're working towards, fuck it. And I know that isn't gonna fucking work, and the reason I do is because Bernie taught me that. So that's what my point was. Not that you have to like his politics or anything, but learn about how to be, how to do. A friend of mine said, can't figure out why people hate him. And I said, I was just talking to my wife about this and agreed that the very worst thing you could think of the guy, that I can see how you got there. So I don't know, I guess my sanity test. Like, all right, I can see if I was from your perspective, I'd totally disagree with you. And if you understood this and this, I think you'd change your mind. But yeah, beyond that, so if it's outside of that, then where you're coming from, you know what I mean? Like, you fucking hate the guy. That's immediately fishy. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I'm sorry, it's automatic distrust. It's just like there's not anything that isn't really not even thinly veiled bullshit propaganda. It's not even, I hate to even give it that much cred. Like, I don't know, just a little sexist, racist, anti-gay jabs. It's just so like, I think I talked about that in here, so I'll just fucking read this. Sorry, that's why I decided to go this route, because it's like I think I hit all these fucking points in here. So why don't I use this as my guidepost? I was talking about to my wife about people hating Bernie. Agreed that the very worst you could think of is the guy is that he's naive. Some of his plans are just too unrealistic. I wish, but I'm a grown-up. But man, when someone hates him, I can almost pin down the exact show that told them to, because the way people phrase shit, I don't know if people realize this, but when you watch any I want to say commercial media, but it's not necessarily that commercial is bad, but really broadcast. I mean, that's kind of the core. But it's really corporate media, you know? I mean, that's another way to look at it. About the only time that's not true is that you know, Comedy Central and HBO can do it for laughs, so you actually get something halfway decent. But I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, so people can say he's naive. I can see from their perspective. So I can pin down, yeah, what show. You watch that shit, you read newspapers, magazines. I mean, if you don't consume something that's truly independent and substantive, it used to be like McNeil Lehrer when I was a kid. That was the gold. And frankly, at the time, like, all three major networks had your grandpa, you know, you trust that guy, and a number of women, of course, too. But you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, they had some editorialist shows or some evening magazine things, you know, later on, but that was clearly fringe entertainment. Now it's like that's all of it. So it's just like, yeah, it's tough to find. So if that's where you get your news and entertainment, if that's all of it, yeah, you've got no reason to question some of the narratives that have come at you about him. Critically, though, because pin it down to the show that told it to him. And that's actually, ironically, it's the only thing that gives me hope. People are tired, they're lazy, their feet are not on fire. So I see this pretty consistently. Where people get forked is people who've been there. Like AOC is a perfect example. It's a pretty fresh fucking memory. How am I gonna pay for this? You know, fucking ticket. Fuck, I forgot about that ticket I gotta pay. I don't have that kind of fucking money. Yeah, people, that's a fresh memory, or it's a long ago memory, but it's one that they're not gonna fucking forget. Man, they get it. And so I think that's why I have some sympathy, and that's why I have some hope, because there's some insularity going on, but it's not a malicious insularity. It's just shit. I grew up watching this channel for my news, and I like these people. They're thought provoking, and yeah. And boy, I see that things in the world aren't great, and I'd really like to fight for shit to get better. But right where I happen to be right now, things are okay. So I'm secretly a little terrified of totally fucking everything up. This scares me, and that's fucking fair. And I think the economy rights itself in that because there's not enough of you. And not because you're bad at all. It just hasn't gotten to you yet. And that's good for you. It's great. It's, speaking of hope, actually, for the rest of us. Yeah, maybe with the stuff I'm doing now, I'll be there too. I'll have a better perspective, though. I will have a memory that won't go away. So I see that, and it's like, yeah, that's a tough place to be. Somebody said about Tulsi's vote. Yeah, I don't think this stuff is realistic that Bernie's trying to do, and I'm speaking for people in that position. And frankly, if it's as disruptive as I think it's going to have to be, that might make things. That might throw off what I've got going on. Things might be. I don't even know. Maybe it'll really fuck things up. But mostly, I think it's just. It's going to be change, and probably for the negative. Things are going to be different, and it's not going to be as good. And I'd really like to just lock down the things that hit me on this, I don't want to play musical chairs anymore. I want to stay on this chair. That's fucking fair. And the reason I say the economy writes itself around that is that things get too fucked up. We allow too much bullshit, and like I was just talking today about gerrymandering. It's kind of a not defeating practice, but it's self-destructive because it's the only way you can really, if you think about it, end up so consistently with a legislative branch that is at odds with the executive. If most people end up saying, yeah, this guy right here, they're going to turn, not even going to turn, they're going to go dink one row down, and they're going to vote for their senator and their representative, who are going to newly be going into or being reinstated into Congress with that president that they're hoping for. Even if it's not in the same election. What fucking person would pick, just do the math. I mean, like, how does that add up? How do you get, why doesn't it, and that's not just the Electoral College. It's that certainly has some influence because of land gets votes, basically, which is really weird because we have land gets votes and money buys votes. Money buys free speech. So it's land and money, not people who are voting, really. That's... So, yeah, these people who are, basically just not in my camp 100%. That's okay. Kind of glad they're not, actually. It sucks. And it's really hard to have this perspective without it sucking. And I'm really impressed by people, and it takes a long time for them to convince me, but I'm really impressed by people who are able to truly pry below the layers and go, yeah, it's never been that hard for me, but I get it. That's tough to do. You're human. You want to be able to say that you can empathize, but you haven't been there for this or that, and that's true for all of us. So I just have my own perspective, but it drives a lot of this. The feet to the fire really. It's not. is not selfish motive, honestly. I mean, there's a couple, like I said, about the student loans. I mean, that would be a fun, wonderful, lovely benefit. I'd welcome it. It'd be awesome, and I would make good use of it to the economy for sure. But it's not life and death for me. I want it for the kids. So, so what I go on to say is that their feet aren't to the fire. They're a trusted outlet their whole lives. There's no input to give them a reason to doubt the repeated assertions, and no reason to validate them. And that, again, that's fair. You can't go chase down everything. You can't, everything you watch, you can't go, what the fuck? It doesn't come off that way to you. It comes off as, yeah, I mean, that's what I've been hearing more and more. Agrees with, you know, and I've watched these people my whole life, and if you are on fire, you know, I mean, it's actually kind of, kind of counterpoint. I mean, it's kind of mean how people insist that everybody be outraged and involved and on fire about it. Fucking A, some people are comfortable, and more, some people are finally comfortable. Some people have fucking slogged their asses off their whole fucking life, and they're finally, and you're like, hey, don't you want to get up and shut? No, here, yeah, you know what? Let that person give you $20 to help you go fucking. Give people some fucking room, all right? So, yeah. So all that said, but yeah, if you know anything about Bernie, and someone says he's sexist or homophobic or racist, I could legit disprove that, even if I was limited to newspaper sources from only the early 70s, or any other small chunk of time in his adult life. Go back to I think it was the year I was born. I was trying to talk to my oldest son about Bernie, and like, I'm always telling kids if they're talking to me about politics at all, like, I really want you to know why you're doing what you're doing. I don't want you to go, what are we? Who am I voting for? Don't do that. I really want you to dig in. I want you to know what you're standing for. And so he was kind of like, yeah, kind of like him. I mean, I'm okay with him. He's a guy. He had some opinions, but he was kind of, I don't know if I remember correctly, but it seemed like he was kind of leaning towards, hey, if that's who you like, that's who I like. But also, yeah, sure, I'll vote my own way. I don't know. Point being, went back the year I was born. Newspaper articles with Bernie Sanders in it. 1970, and straight up, and with a bunch of other good shit, he's standing up for fucking gay marriage. And not just, oh, that's a checkbox issue. He didn't call it that. It was just like, it's fucking ridiculous. We treat our gay brothers and sisters like, why do they have any different rights than we do? What that, 1970. He didn't evolve. He didn't learn. I mean, even Tulsi, who I have mad respect for, grew up in a household that was just fucking bigoted, So it took a while. It took her being out in the world, being in the army, being around real people to go, that's not fucking right. And I have mad respect for her. But Bernie was like fucking born woke. Write that down. Bernie was born woke. The rest of us, no. We're always trying to get a little bit better. He was born woke. So, yeah. I'm saying, anybody says he's sexist or homophobic, I could legit disprove that. 70s newspapers. There's literally decades of old video of Bernie yelling at us to not do something we did anyway and later really regretted. For every single one of them. There really is. I mean, if you like, I fucking legitimately, when it came out, was excited about NAFTA. I'm not kidding. Because just like with the fucking Iraq war, we were fucking lied to. I was told economically, we're going to get to be one big country with Mexico and Canada. And I had just started being a salesperson. So I was really, and I just finished junior college business school. So I was really economically minded, really fiscally minded. And I could just immediately see these huge benefits. Oh man, that's like, if we could trade with them without it being trade with them, if it was just like, hey, this is just like how we work with Nevada, where we bring you fruit and we take your salt, or that kind of efficiency. You think about it, just the efficiency of a semi going home empty. Transportation costs, especially with gas now, are a fucking astronomical component of a lot of goods and services. So if you just fucking nick that border economically and say, fucking roll up there with all this shit from the docks for fucking Walmart and roll back with logs for Canada, you've cut the overhead over the whole economy of petroleum-based product and service movement in half, because you've removed a disincentive. Oh fuck, we'll trade with them. That's a great. They have so much up there. The lumber, right? Price is gonna be good. Yeah, it's just some efficiency. So I was all excited about it. That was just fucking bullshit. It was a one-way deal, and it's really just hand fucking carved for, a small sliver of corporations who, you guessed it, donors. Yay. So I feel like an ass, because I was like, fuck, that means I could, I was excited because I thought, hey, maybe we could open a store in Vancouver and I could manage it, because I'd love to live in Vancouver, Canada. But yeah, no, it was none of that. It was all fucking wrong. Bernie was woke to that. Just like you hit any fucking issue. Shit, you try to say he's sexist and racist, or sexist or racist. Here he is, when I'm pretty sure I was like, if I had to roll the dice and go, if it wasn't at work, I was probably drinking a beer. He's handcuffed to a young African-American woman, and I think she's handcuffed to the bumper of a fucking police car, and they're getting arrested for protesting. And it turns out he's only getting arrested because he handcuffed himself to her. Because of course they're just gonna be like, no, you can't be talking up here to her. Fuck that. I mean, he's fucking 20, I think. Jesus Christ. I mean, forget that too. It's like, well, the senior senator from Vermont is, here he is being a stalwart advocate. No, he was a fucking 20-year-old kid being a stalwart advocate. Fucking A, man. I mean, I thought I was a pretty good kid, but Jesus Christ. When you were 20 years old, I mean, fuck you. I'm sorry, none of us are answering, were you though? I mean, there's some things you'd have done. I don't think he can look back and say, hey, I wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, so he's, every issue, fucking Iraq war. No, fuck. For the housing crisis, this is not, we can't, I mean, so, anyway, I said, yeah, you don't have to agree with him all that aside, but if you could just be that integrous, if you could accept him as, not learn to be him and espouse his stuff, but if you could just watch how he does what he does with integrity. And I said, imagine if we could all be that integrous, even not agreeing on any issue, but still have all the same big issue disagreements. Imagine what kind of world we could have, though. If there was that level of decency of like, I genuinely believe, this side of the abortion debate because of this science and this personal belief, but you brought that as Bernie would bring it. And then the person on the other side is bringing their side. They're not vilifying you either. There's just this honest decency, and here's where I'm coming from, and here's what's driving that, and here's the impacts that you might not have thought of. We're just trying to get to the best solution we can. Nobody's trying to fucking shit on anybody. I don't know. That shit works for me. I don't know. And I think maybe if people listen a little longer, it'd work for them too. Back to the first one, Joe Rogan. Yeah, if you haven't, you gotta get out there and watch some Joe Rogan. There's somebody on Joe Rogan that you like. That's why he's so controversial, I guess, because he talks to people and he's not partisan. So God forbid. Well, you've had this Republican on. You're obviously a media shield for the Republican. Oh, good Lord Christ! You've had a super liberal Democrat on. My mind is exploding. Yeah, he lets people on that are interesting and have something useful to fucking share, and he's really good at having a great conversation with them about it. And it's not a talk show. I don't even know why anybody would think that, but I don't know why that popped into my head. But it's like, I wonder, how do people think that? I mean, it really is a podcast. You could really listen to it, but even watching it, you're just, talk shows are so formulaic and fast too. These are like whatever, people who are busy. Maybe it's an hour and a half. Some people are there 3 hours. Sometimes there's a couple people. It'd just be like if you were, I don't know, in the faculty lounge in Cambridge in 1900, I mean, some place like that where it's like, man, there's just people come through here and they sit down and have themselves a cigar, and that's the other level. Drank cigar. Fucking Elon Musk had a blunt. famous meme now. I mean, a big fucking shit deal about that. Jesus. Yeah, so highly recommend Joe Rogan. That's just, that's really brought a lot. Because at least for people like me that care, I shit you not, I watched the whole Alex Jones interview because it's Joe Rogan, and I'm like, this isn't going to happen if it's not worth my time. Period. It's not necessarily going to be all happy and positive, but it's going to be worth my fucking time. So I heard him out, and it was very interesting, and it was like some Alex going, I'm an asshole. But I mean, of course he is, and that's his business kind of, but some other stuff, just kind of got under his hood a little bit and really exposed him as a person. And yeah, I still totally am like, man, left, right, and center, we don't agree with each other, Alex, but he's not an inhuman villain anymore, and there's some validity to his existence. So some humanity, and man, that's powerful for, and that's for somebody that's on the opposite. So maybe Bernie is that for you. Maybe Bernie is the equivalent of Alex Jones for you. Watch Bernie on there. Don't worry, Alex isn't going to turn you into a libtard. You're just going to be an informed Republican that knows what the fuck you're talking about. You can speak very intelligently where Bernie's coming from because you'll really have heard him. And if your goal is to combat that, it behooves you to know it well. I'm just seeing if there was any other recent political shit. There was a rally with AOC that's that was for Bernie. But I was just commenting on my post of it that I was heartened that she's between the ages of my two older kids. She gets it. Pick your knuckles up off the ground if you don't think she does. And what really makes it hopeful for me is that's, my kids are just coming into, really starting to be a pull in the world, and they're that age, and it's like, all right, that's the people coming up behind us, we're gonna be right. They know what the fuck they're doing. And it's sad that, I mean, so many people, God, it's just such an assumptive there with AOC. There's so many people that are not on Team B. Write her off as stupid. It's just like, fuck, she should be the bar. And honestly, the minimum bar, because she's just very young. She does not have, you know, the fluidity of speech. My friends say of Bernie the other day, the fluency. You know, things get worn in really well, and you become very refined at discussing them, saying them, arguing them. And, you know, she's 29 years old, so, you know, she's got a lot. But I think that's what people hear. And then, of course, people are, you know, ageist and sexist. I gotta believe that's 98% of it. But some of it is just like, yeah, okay, this is going to be on the younger end of Congress. But she's so much more literate in the bare fucking minimum shit that everybody in that job should know. I mean, it should be a good school. And I mean genuinely, not popular. Just the school is proven to produce people who do good work. But in her case, Boston University. And it should be, I mean, should it not? Think about the cream we're scraping off the top here, you know? We're looking for a president, we're looking for some senators, we're looking for some House of Representatives. Yeah, even the people in the House. Let's have them be in one of them. There's a Latin thing after I graduated something, magna. That's a good idea. And it'd be real swell if it was in something important like political science, economics, engineering, science. There's a lot of aspects that would bring tremendous value to a number of committees that person might be on. But it's just a no fucking brainer that that's the minimum we should ask of people. And it's just hard for me to wrap my head around. I look at that and go, yeah, she's way better than most of them, but that should be the minimum. And then I'm dealing with a world that's like, oh my God, she's such a ditzy. And it's like, fuck, okay. Whatever. I think I'll finish with this one. This post doesn't even match. Bernie's outside. It looks like it's fucking cold. He's got his big old coat on with the hoodie. He's got the hood off though. He's got mismatched, I believe, I want to say they're wool gloves. One of them's a very classic style, little sweater, whatever, brown, tan, black kind of thing. And the other one's like I don't know, I mean, it looks like a Green Bay Packers thing or some shit, but they both look like they're handmade. But there's this whole article that he's using these mittens to go campaign in the cold, and they're proudly made in Vermont mittens. Like, it was, you know, he started as the mayor of Burlington. He's just like, so I just said, how can anyone be more legit than Bernie, man? Like, it's just unrelenting, unflinching, just stays on it. And man, I don't care. If you're a fucking fuck the planet, shoot some oil out of the ground with my shotgun Republican, fucking do it like this, man. You know? Own it. Dig in, stick to it, be right, and keep fucking at it. And, you know, don't fucking try to pull shit on people, bribe people, fucking trade, they're bogus favors. Do it the right way, or you're full of shit. This, what is he, 73? You can't do better than that, fucking old man. He's gonna beat your ass. Come on, suck it up. Do it straight. Be honest with yourself. Fucking lying, cheating, stealing, because it doesn't win. I mean, that's what fucking Russia's doing right now, and everybody's really happy over there, I'm sure, because it's like, yeah, the mob has saved us from starvation, but that's a kind of a natural order of life if you think about it, in a new place. People first occupied new territories and first come into the new world, that kind of thing. I mean, things had to be a little bit more lawless, and kind of the threat of chaos and unrestrained crazy fucking people with guns kind of had its own corralling, and I'm not apologizing for an absolute fucking oligarchy that is the Soviet Union, but they were fucking broken. People were starving. Somebody's fucking hell-bent ideology was making people starve. Now, we're getting pretty fucking close ourselves, so I'm sticking my nose in the air. And the dude solved the problem, and he solved it. It's kind of like how you'd want to solve a problem with just a fucking brutal general. Just take this guy, let him out of his cage exactly in this direction, and it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to get through to there, and then God, just snag his ass with a golden parachute and say, God bless you, thank you for your service, we'll take it from here, which will be hard to wrestle out of him, but from there on out, we'll need to do things above board and proper and try to tie our fucking shoelaces, but that's where Russia is right now, I think, personally. They still need Putin. Because they're working on it. I mean, they are clawing their way up, kind of like, Prohibition era shit, clawing their way into legitimacy. People are starting to gain education and skills that are valuable in the world market, valuable to me. They're getting there. So, yeah, that's not where we should be. That's not. Anyway, yeah, I was just kind of drawing that analog that they're kind of a new world who had to rebuild themselves, and so that's why there's so much of that corruption. But now, for us to have it, it's a waste. Let's face it. I mean, look what we got. Look outside. Look what you got. Look what you fucking got born into, if you're as lucky as I was. And fucking hats off to you, if you're lucky enough to come here from somewhere and not get fucked out of it. And probably because you were the right shade pale or something, I'm sure. Not your fault, but yeah, I don't know, man. Let's not waste this, because we still have something, I worry that people don't get that, There's probably too many people who don't realize we're not really on top of any positive list anymore. And big things, infant mortality and economic mobility, and I mean, they're all what do you call those, NGO double-speak UN blah 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 statistics and shit, but they come down to it's getting to where shit would have been better for you if you'd accidentally been born in 40 other countries than here. Net. So Anyway, them's the things. Should probably go now. I've got a 17-year-old standing here. It's his birthday. And we gotta fucking fix this shit for him because he gets the right to vote 3 months too late. Bummer. Peace, people. Thanks for listening. Late.